Hello, in this session I'll talk about importing and configuring Linux appliance. This is Hassan Mir from 02protraining.com. This is the big picture. We have already downloaded and installed virtual machine software on our personal computer, and now it's time to download and import the appliance, the Linux virtual machine, into the virtual machine software. The Linux virtual machine is called an appliance. So in terms of roadmap, the next step is to import the appliance that we just downloaded. Start the Oracle VirtualBox software either through your desktop by double-clicking on the icon, or by going into the Start menu of Windows and then in All Programs. Before we import the virtual machine, just do a quick check. Go into File and Preferences and make sure this folder that you see under Default Machine Folder exists on your computer. And if that's the case, simply click Cancel. If that's not the case, make sure you create a folder or point this to a folder that already exists. So under this folder, all your virtual machine files will be created. Keep in mind, virtual machine is a software based machine, although it gives you the impression that a real machine is running, and that's the whole idea, but it's a software based machine and it's represented by files in the back end. So all the files that are creating that machine will be stored in this folder. So cancel. Now it's time to import the virtual machine that you have downloaded, or also known as appliance. So go to File, Import. You see this window. Click on the Import Appliance button. This window opens up asking you to choose the file to be imported. Point this to your download folder and select the Linux appliance that you downloaded and click on the Open button. You'll be back to the same window. Now you can click on the Next button. So we are in the middle of importing the virtual machine, and we can do the configuration after we import the virtual machine before we start it, or we can do the configuration during the process of import. So let's do it during the process of import. We need to scale down the machine a little bit, because machine will display the specs that were entered by the person who created the virtual machine, and we might want to change the memory a little bit. We might want to change some other specs. So that is what we are going to do now. Now you're looking at the properties of the virtual machine. Once you bring it up, you're going to see Mint Linux operating system on it, although the type says Ubuntu, but you're going to see Mint, and the name is Mint 1.4. CPU, it will have, the virtual machine will have is 1. This is a virtual machine, okay, so it will try to emulate as if it has one CPU. So if you have 2 cores on your computer, if you have 2 CPU cores, one will be dedicated to the Linux machine. If you have quad core machine, then still one will be given to the virtual machine. If you have only 1 core, then it will be shared between your virtual machine and the host. So the host machine is the one on which you're working, and the virtual machine is the one which is running inside the host. We call it guest or virtual machine, and the host is the actual computer. Now the RAM is, you need to downsize this. It's about 1.5 GB here. You can bring it down to 1024, which is 1 GB. Make sure it's a multiple of 1024. It's better to be a multiple of 1024. Some defects do show up on VirtualBox if it's not a multiple of 1024, but even 1.5 will do the job. Okay, so here is a simple rule of thumb. If you have 4 GB or more on your host computer, on the actual computer, you can give this 2 GB, 2048. And if you have 3 or 2 GB on your host computer, you can give this 1024. But if you have only 1 GB available on your host computer, you can give this one half gigabyte. Okay, so I'm going to go with 1024, although I have 4 GBs, but Linux doesn't need too much of a memory, so I'm okay with this. Keep in mind, whatever you're giving to this guest or virtual machine, only the remaining will be available for the host computer till the time virtual machine is running. So if you want to do something on your host computer, it will not be very easy to do if you do not give enough to the host computer. Okay, so as soon as you turn off the virtual machine, everything will be back to normal. If you scroll down, you will see we have a hard disk attached to this virtual machine, which would be represented by this file, and this file will be created in the same folder that we checked by going into File and Preferences option. This is the same folder that we saw over there. Now it's time to move forward. Click on the Import button. The import process will start. The import will take few minutes to get processed. For me, it took less than 5 minutes. Now the machine has been imported. So here you can see the virtual machine. You can power it on whenever you want to work with Linux, and you can power it off whenever you're done, so that more resources are available to your main computer.